outside there, and you can see just a little hook feature. And this is really close to Mountain View. This is going to ride just south of Chesney and likely be moving just north of Cowpens National Battlefield there, moving over 221. So pretty much just splitting Chesney and Mayo. So if you're in either of these locations, I need you in your safe place right now. We're going to do a fresh storm track on it where we could potentially be seeing that tornado warning. That puts Chesney in the path in just the next few minutes. So hunker down as this storm moves through. We've got Boiling Springs, Lattimore, and some of these other areas that are toward Cleveland County in the path, but also Mayo. If you're in Mayo, I want you to take those tornado safety precautions right now. Let's go ahead and talk about those, and then we'll take a look at the, well, actually, let's just show it to you now. Here's the wind velocity, and it really sticks out where we could be seeing a potential tornado. This is between, again, Chesney and Mayo. This is going to be passing over 221. And you can see right here, the green and then that bright white color that indicates the wind coming toward and away from the radar. When it's tightly packed like that in a couplet fashion, that's when we get concerned about a tornado on the ground. So we're talking about the main threat in northern Spartanburg County right now. This is north of the city of Spartanburg. So if you saw the warning and you're wondering, oh, you know, I'm in the city, is this going to be a problem? This is not coming towards Spartanburg. Get to the lowest floor of your home. If you're located anywhere around Chesney or Mayo, away from windows, you want to put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. Be sure to protect your head and abandon mobile homes. This is something you really should do in a tornado watch situation. Know where you need to go, so you're not stuck in a situation where there could be a tornado on the ground and you're in a mobile home. So try to keep that in mind for planning, but get to the lowest floor away from windows, put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. So let's get another look at radar. Here it is, and it's a storm. It's moving pretty quickly. Came out of Boiling Springs where it had a little bit of rotation, but is now really packing it. Let's put it into still mode now, Bob, if we can, and kind of show you here. We've got a little hook on the back of the storm, and what could be, I'm not saying it is, but it could be a little debris ball signature. So we've got this little ball feature right on the edge of the reflectivity. We'll see if that holds together with the next scan as it comes through. That could be an indicator that we're getting a little bit of debris with the storm. Right now, no, nothing really organized. We're seeing a little bit of anomalous activity there, which could develop into a debris signature, so we'll watch that, see if anything's being kicked up. But meteorologist Bob Trihey is with me, and he's operating radar as well as keeping an eye on National Weather Service. So, of course, Bob, just chime in if you see any new reports. But this is our primary concern, this storm. And then the one that's sitting over Boiling Springs, Bob, that's not the warned storm, but certainly one that we should probably be keeping an eye on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're watching that particular cell as well, Kendra, as they continue to move off to the northeast very quickly or rapidly, 25 miles per hour. So if you live in these counties, these newly warned counties for a tornado, you should be taking shelter immediately from this, because we are looking at these cells that continue to rotate. This one that is south and west of Chesney right now, as Kendra alluded to, and that could be crossing over from South Carolina on into North Carolina with time. What I want to do is just take off the radar data for a second and just kind of orient you with the situation. So we lost a few of the counties in that tornado watch, Kendra, including Greenville County, but it's farther to the east, Spartanburg, and through parts of western North Carolina, Union, Lawrence, and Greenwood that are still under that tornado watch. And here is that tornado warning. Who is under that warning? We've got Mayo and Chesney, back through Boiling Springs as well, and Cowpens. You're right on the edge of this particular warning. And here's the details on this warning, Kendra, and that goes until 7:45.
Yeah, so if you're in any of these communities, we want you in your safe place. And in the control room, if we've got a chance to take our tower cam in a moment, I know it's actually pointing over towards Spartanburg. You can really see some ominous skies here in a minute. And yeah, there we go. You can see kind of the lowering. We've got what could potentially be a shelf cloud with all of those strong storms that have been moving out toward the Spartanburg area. But no indication out of the skies that we've seen any kind of tornado development or a funnel cloud, anything along those lines. But it certainly is an ominous scene as you look out toward the east with these storms. So watching the Boiling Spring storm still, but don't be confused. This one right here that is packing the greatest rotation. And I like that we have a new update, so hopefully we can get you some even better information here, because it looks like it has jogged north just a little bit, so it's really right on top of you in Chesney, right along the Cherokee-Spartanburg County border. And we're going to watch this as it continues to move toward Cleveland County, barely clipping Rutherford County, but it's a fast mover. Begins sitting right over Chesney at this time, and we're going to continue to watch the rotational winds with it. But it still has that structure on radar that shows us that we could be dealing with a tornado. Now, Bob has an update.
Yeah, there's an interesting tag on this tornado warning as well, Kendra. It says observe tornado, and the tornado damage threat is considerable. Okay. That is according to the tag on that warning.
Well, and if we go back to our storm relative velocity, when we were showing that, we were showing some bright colors. This indicates some very strong wind within the storm, and you can see that right here over Chesney. And it was even more pronounced earlier, but this couplet here, that's where we're likely seeing a tornado that could be coming down. There has been an observed tornado with this, and look at that right there. Yeah. We've got debris. Mm-hmm. This is what we're talking about with debris detection. This is a tornado debris signature from what it looks like to me on our radar detecting technology, and it looks like that's what they're talking about at National Weather Service. They have detected this tornado and observed because of the fact that we can now pick up debris. So this is an incredibly dangerous situation for those of you in Chesney. This is moving away from you in Boiling Springs, Mountain View. It's north of you in Cowpens National Battlefield. But we've got this debris signature indicating area where debris is being lofted up into the thunderstorm. A tornado is likely, and we've got even more information coming from Bob now.
That's right, Kendra. And the National Weather Service is calling this considerable and dangerous since they have a deep TDS. And that appears to be indicating lofting damage.
That's right.
So there it is right there.
A tornado debris signature. And again, this is the technology we have with radar now. It can pick up when it's not rain. And it is showing this anomalous area. See this ball? It's a ball of debris that is just south of Chesney, meaning that there is likely a tornado on the ground that is producing damage and actually lofting or pulling all of that debris up. It could be trees, tree limbs, parts of houses. So let's do a couple things here. First off, let's zoom in tight on this. This is right on top of you along 221. So Mayo Mills to Chesney. That's where we're seeing the worst of it. And this is going to be quickly hopping over into Cherokee County too. So we're going to be watching this along areas like 221 toward Grassy Pond in northern Cherokee County. Gaffney, this is likely going to bypass you, but remain weather aware as this moves by. And we can go back to regular radar, but I think you get the idea. We're going to check back in on debris detection to see if this keeps coming up. But we have what we would call a tornado debris signature, which is a radar confirmed tornado. And that is in Spartanburg County. It is not the city of Spartanburg. We're talking about Chesney, near Mayo as well. That's where we have the tornado that is likely on the ground right now. Let's go back to radar when we can, Bob, or the reflectivity, as well as wind, and we'll kind of give you an idea of what this storm is doing. And again, this does not include you in Boiling Springs or Spartanburg, but does include Chesney and Cowpens. You're pretty far south of this threat. But look at this little hook signature. That is another indicator of a rotation on radar and a tornado. And I mean, you add that with the debris that we're seeing, and then we'll look at velocities here in a second to give you an idea. But we already have pretty much a confirmation that a tornado is on the ground with this storm based on what we're seeing on Doppler radar. Now, we still have some storms lagging in the portions of Spartanburg County, but there are no tornado warnings with those. What we have is this storm in Chesney, near Chesney, pretty much right on top of Chesney, and moving off toward the northeast. So let's put it in still mode, Bob, and go ahead and do another storm track on this to see who's going to be impacted in a small part of Rutherford County, small part of Cherokee County, but then a lot of Cleveland County. And Cleveland County is technically outside of our jurisdiction, but that's going to take it into spots like Boiling Springs, a lot of more but we've got some smaller communities here that we're going to be seeing this as it moves through northern Cherokee County. It looks like we've actually got a brand new update too. So these are areas that are actually in the Charlotte viewing area, but if you know anyone, have family that lives over in Cleveland County, give them a call because this is heading their way. So let's get a closer zoom on this very small area in Cherokee County that we're going to see impacted. It's going to be the far northern part of Cherokee County where we see the worst of it. And there's Chesney, of course, that's just moved by. And if there is tornado damage, it is going to be over Chesney. We're going to be sending crews out there to take a look. Of course, not putting anyone in harm's way, but this is right along 221, and there is our debris detection, and we're still seeing debris with this storm. And this is between Bryce and Chesney, far northern Cherokee County. Let's just zoom in even tighter on this, Bob. Again, this is along Grass Lake Road, here 221, and you can see again these are some very small. Some of these are just are county roads. These are farm roads in parts of northern Cherokee County, but we've got Green Lake Road, Piedmont Road. This is where we have the debris being picked up on radar, and it's going to be moving over 221. So likely a tornado on the ground since it was over Chesney and is moving eastward. Now, when you get debris detection like this, and we're able to pick up debris, this is likely a bigger tornado than your typical small EF0, EF1. We're not calling that necessarily, but this is one of those particularly dangerous situations. Like National Weather Service has said, Bob, this could be a particularly destructive tornado. And we keep getting the evidence here that we have debris being lofted into the sky.
Yes, absolutely. And there is this report from the National Weather Service that there's confirmation from Spartanburg County Communications of a funnel cloud, so at least a funnel cloud. We think we've got touchdown here, and we're looking at debris detection. And as you mentioned, Kendra, we're looking at a lot of colors here, but you're looking for something that stands out from the ordinary.
Right.
Stands out from the ordinary on radar.
And it's
we're looking for wood, and we're looking for like fiberglass and things like that. That's what this is picking up.
And it's still there. It's not as defined as it once was, because you're looking for anomalies in the things that the radar is picking up, because the radar picks up on droplets of rain, on hailstones, but then also picks up on debris. And you can see just south of Chesney along 221, that's where we had an even more defined kind of ball of debris. But this is also showing us that there's likely some particulates, things in the atmosphere that are not just regular rain. And that indicates to us that there's likely a tornado involved here, or a funnel cloud that's causing some issues, maybe even like pulling off pieces of roofs. Again, we don't know that for sure. We just know that our technology is telling us that this is an extremely dangerous situation. And this is for some smaller communities in the northern part of Cherokee County. So this is now beginning to pass Chesney. Chesney, I need you to stay in your safe place. But we've got Gaffney to the south here. This is not going to move over you in Gaffney. This is going to be moving over our smaller communities in northern Cherokee County. Again, all of these listed here, important, but these are not in our direct DMA. These are not in our jurisdiction when it comes to coverage. So if you have family that lives in Boiling Springs and Cleveland County, Lattimore, these areas, give them a call. Our main concern right now is this area. These are the folks that can pick us up, that count on us for severe weather coverage. So let's zoom in even tighter here to that hook feature and all of these smaller areas. I want to do as much street level mapping as we can. We talked about how this is moving over 221 around Chesney, but now has slid on off. And again, in this area, there's not a lot of big towns. We've got, here's 221. This is mainly north of 221. Grassy Pond, not too far off from here. So if you're in Grassy Pond, remain indoors, away from windows, take your tornado safety precautions. But you can see This is going to be moving away from Chesney, and actually Grassy Pond is still a good distance away. There we go. I was blocking it there, but that's one of those smaller communities in northern Cherokee County. But if we go in even tighter to some of the areas that we may see impacted, this is again going to be spots in southern Rutherford County as well. But along 221, seeing some of those issues, the potential for a tornado to be touching down and basically moving along the state line of South Carolina and North Carolina. So if you're anywhere in southern Rutherford County, northern Cherokee County, and in particular, if you live anywhere near Chesney in Cherokee County, I need you to be in your safe place right now. Let's review the tornado safety precautions once again, and then we'll check in on the debris with the storm. The latest update looks like that storm may have weakened a little bit, and that's what we're hoping. Go to the lowest floor of your home, get away from windows, hallway, bathroom, or closet. Those are safe places to go. It just depends on your house. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. Protect your head and abandon mobile homes. They're not safe places to be in a tornado. Now, in this situation, we have a tornado debris signature, a radar confirmed tornado that has moved over Chesney and is now moving east. So let's get another look at the radar. And Bob's been pulling up the different products so that we can tell you exactly what's going on. And yeah, it looks like things are starting to weaken a bit with the storm. And it's also pulling out of South Carolina, getting into the southern tip of Rutherford County now. But that tornado warning still in place for a portion of Spartanburg County here. We'll let you know when they remove that. But let's put this into still mode, Bob, and maybe we can check out that debris detection again, see if we are picking up much more in the way of debris that we were earlier. And see, it's gotten a little more muted, but it's still there. But the evolution of it was much stronger. And that's when the tornado debris signature was officially picked up, when it was over Chesney, and then now as it's moving over Bryce and over toward Avondale. It's not as defined, but certainly still picking up on anomalous materials, things that are getting, again, debris lofted into the air, and the radar is picking up on that debris as it sweeps, and it's picking up on that in addition to rain. So it's showing us that we have something, and it correlates with rotation, that is helping to pull that debris up into the atmosphere, and it's a likely tornado on the ground. So right now, the danger is beginning to shift out of, it has shifted out of Spartanburg County. You can come out of your safe place in Chesney and in any other areas in Spartanburg County because the storm is left. But you're looking at the worst of it in northwestern Cherokee County and then the far southern portion of Rutherford County. Now, again, the warning's still out for Spartanburg County, but the primary storm we've been tracking is out of Spartanburg County. We'll let you know when the official warning is taken out. But for now, the worst of the damage with this storm, and we're going to be finding out more about this, would be around Chesney or slightly south, somewhere between Mayo and Chesney, and then moving off toward the north and east into portions of Cherokee County. So again, we're over programming right now because this is an incredibly dangerous situation for folks in our area. The Greenville, Anderson, you've actually been removed from the tornado watch, and that has been effective over the last 30 minutes or so. But the watch continues from Greenwood up to Spartanburg as this tornado warning continues and is mainly affecting the state line between Rutherford County and Cherokee County, and that's where that storm still is. But it has been weakening, luckily, and we'll see what National Weather Service has to say about that. There's also a tornado warning just off to the south and east of Charlotte with that line. So there's been plenty of activity today and a dynamic atmosphere, Bob, where these storms have been tapping into the little bit of energy they can and getting really strong.
Yeah, absolutely. We were watching that big swirl coming up from the Gulf Coast. It interacted with that front. And Kendra, as you mentioned, everything is coming together as far as the severe weather goes. And I do see here the Weather Service is also concerned about that other cell we were watching back near Boiling Springs. And they're keeping a close eye on that system as well. But right now, it looks like the rotation has weakened considerably, but we continue with this tornado warning, and that will go for another 10 minutes until 7:45. So we're going to stay on the air until this warning has expired. You should be taking shelter in your safe place north and east of Chesney, right along the state line. But it looks like that circulation has become more diffuse, starting to weaken as it's moving into North Carolina. But Kendra, as you alluded to, these particular cells, these little discrete cells, are working off an environment. They're trying to get going if they can. And of course, we do have just enough in the way of dynamics to have these storms spinning. Nothing confirmed as far as ground truth, as far as seeing damage, but we saw on the correlation coefficient, that was a different story, that there probably was something thrown into the air that is not precipitation or, something along those lines.
Well, and we're getting a lot of reports from folks in that area. Power lines down, a funnel cloud spotted just about a mile southwest of Chesney. A lot of folks really scared out there, and I can't blame you, because this something went through here, and we've gotten some calls and emails into the newsroom, and we're going to send a crew out once it is safe to survey this damage. We'd be coming from the back end, so we'll be sending them out once it's safe to get out there. But the good news is the debris has come down with this. We're still seeing some anomalous signature here east of Bryce toward Avondale. So now our main concern really has shifted out of Spartanburg and Cherokee counties. But Bob, like you mentioned, we have this other storm in Spartanburg County that we'll have to keep an eye on. But that one not officially warned on at this point. But the worst of the storm now is in Rutherford County, just east of 221. And that's where we have this debris signature. We can go on back to the regular radar and just kind of point out where the storm has moved to. But notice, we still have lots and lots of rain and storm activity here. But the actual, the storm that we've been tracking has kind of flattened out a little bit. Now we have another cell that's going to be moving through, bringing some heavy rainfall, and still a line that's going to be moving through parts of Spartanburg County.
And
Bob.
the South Carolina side of that tornado warning was allowed to expire, but they're continuing the North Carolina side.
Okay.
As you can see here, you can see the red showing up into Rutherford County. That's where we still have the warning going for that cell that is lost a lot of its punch. But then, we're watching these other cells farther back to the west and south and west of Chesney. And so anytime you see these cells out by themselves, we call those discrete, Kendra. We have to watch them for the potential of spinning, and they have been.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they do have a fairly uninterrupted inflow right now, where they're out by themselves, and when they are like this, they can tap into energy. They can get lots of southerly air brought into the storm, and they can begin to rotate very quickly if there's the right environment. So we've got like a little mini line moving back through Boiling Springs, Fingerville. This looks like it's weakened a good bit, but again, we're going to keep an eye on that storm that's still promoting a severe or a tornado warning for Rutherford County. That's going to be moving into Cleveland County shortly. But then here's that cell from Chesney to Mayo, and then we've got the cell that's over along I-26 in Spartanburg County. It's just like it won't end. They just keep kind of back building. But this part should be the last segment that rolls through, as Greenville County has been removed from the tornado watch. So the threat for tornadoes farther west is very, very low. And even at this point, as the night wears on, our threat for tornadoes is going to keep going down and down. But we've had this thunderstorm kind of at very last minute tap into what energy it could, and it has potentially put down a tornado. And really, by all indications on radar, we did see a tornado. And Chesney, and we may be getting some more reports too in. Let's go ahead, Bob.
Yes, we are. We're getting this from the newsroom, Kendra. Chesney Community Fire Department, they're saying this is a public service announcement. Please avoid Paris Bridge Road at this time. Multiple departments are working on trees and power lines down from Fish Camp Road to Mountain View Baptist Church. So it says in uppercase, Paris Bridge Road is shut down in multiple areas. And of course, we've been seeing this. And also, I'm seeing on Weather Chat as well, we've got 14 to 18-inch diameter limbs off of trees. So a lot of tree damage. Highway 221 and South Alabama Avenue at Overbridge Road.
Yeah. Okay. And then again, that all lines up with those areas we were tracking that storm through this Chesney and the surrounding communities there, just north of Mayo. And then look at this. We've got another storm that's basically right on top of those areas. So they're trying to get people off of roads, get things cleaned up, get power lines up, but they've still got storms over them. So this is going to make it difficult for getting out and surveying and doing any kind of, figuring out this damage for quite some time. As these storms continue to blow through. And then to add insult to injury, we've got these two here. We've got one in southern Spartanburg County and one that's coming into Greenwood County. These have not shown signs of being tornadic, but could, technically with the environment that we're in, over the next couple of hours. We have a tornado watch that's out until 9 o'clock tonight, and we're going to be tracking these closely as we move throughout the night. But right now, the only tornado warning we have, and I'm going to make sure I'm right on this, Rutherford County, correct, Bob?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so let's get a visit back on this storm. Again, it has really weakened, and it's a very small portion of Rutherford County. In fact, if we can pull the radar off real quick, let's show you where so we only have, it's this very small portion, which is south and east of Forest City. Ellenboro, you're included here. This includes the surrounding 221, it crossed over 221 in South Carolina, but this goes over into Boiling Springs. This is not Boiling Springs, South Carolina. This is Boiling Springs in Cleveland County. Lattimore, these are all communities that are going to be impacted by a possible tornado. We've seen indications that it has weakened, that we're not seeing as tight of rotation of potential for debris with the storm, but it's still important, I think, that they do hold on to this tornado warning because of the fact that this was such a strong storm and it could cycle back really at any moment. So south of Forest City, that's where we've got this storm here, and it's going to keep moving on into Cleveland County. So basically just now getting east of 221, and we can go even tighter into, Bob, on this in the southeastern tip of, there we go. Now we've got Avondale popping up too. So you've got Ellenboro, Avondale, be in your safe place right now as all of this is moving through, but it's gotten a lot messier. It's much less defined, so we're glad to see that, but don't let your guard down. We want to make sure that everybody stays safe out there. But again, we've got this warning that's going to be out for about 3 more minutes. Is that correct, Bob? Until 7:45.
Yes, I believe they said they're going to let this expire unless they see a reason to continue it. But it looks like the rotation is weaker, so 2 minutes from now it should expire. Okay, so again, we'll stay on it until it's done.
But Avondale, Ellenboro, areas south and east of Forest City need to be in your safe place right now. But the good news is that the line of storms has weakened a good bit. The bad news in the upstate is that we still have a few storms that we need to keep an eye on, and we're not going anywhere. We're going to be watching those very closely for you over the next hour or so. We've got this one around Enoree that could be tapping into some energy. We've also got this one here that's going to be moving into areas just north of Greenwood along 178. So let's see.
And it looks like we're continuing the tornado warning, or they have extended it till 8:15.
That's right. Okay, and the tornado warning until 8:15 for Rutherford County, likely it will be trimmed back once the storm heads out of Rutherford County and gets into Cleveland County. So I don't think that it will be active for you in Rutherford County for another 30 minutes, but still for a few more minutes at least until it can finally get. It's pretty much right on the state line now, the worst of it. So you can see a lot of that's going to be shifting out of Rutherford County here shortly. So again, we will stick with it and keep you posted as we watch this, and also keep a close eye on those storms down to the south. But Bob, let's recap who all's included in this. And again, it's really only a very small portion of our main Rutherford County area, which is south and east of Forest City.
Yeah, you can see that it's just a little sliver, southeast part of Rutherford County, as you mentioned, Kendra, south and east of Forest City. That would include Ellenboro along 74 and then down 221. So let's see. This also includes Avondale and Bryce as well, and then points north and east. See if we can get a few more cities in here, maybe Newhouse as well. So just a little sliver of southeast Rutherford County still under the tornado warning, and it looks like maybe they trimmed it back a little bit. It looks like, okay, it's still across parts of Rutherford County.
Right.
And then we still have several counties to the east and south of Greenville that are under that tornado watch until 9. So it'll be curious to see what they do with that as well as we go through time.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, with time, this should get better. As the sun is going down, of course, the sun is setting much later, so there's still a little bit of energy out there right now. But as that sun sets, we're going to see that threat for tornadoes go down significantly. And it's really the system's last gasp as it's on the eastern fringe of our area. But we will continue to watch those storms from Greenwood down towards Spartanburg. And you can see those here, just kind of lining up. But I just looked at the latest. Neither of those is showing any overt, tornadic characteristics just yet. And luckily, the storms up in North Carolina have really stolen the energy from these that are going over areas that have already been battered by storms today. So we've got the storm that's down in Greenwood County. We've got one that's going to be crossing over near Woodruff. So let's take a tour. Let's start in the south and just get a closer look at each of these. Just to show you some communities affected. I'm not telling you to seek shelter from these yet. Just stay weather aware. If you're in Cokesbury, around Greenwood, anywhere just south of where Shoals is crossing over 178, I just want you to remain weather aware. We also have this one that just blew by Fountain Inn. Now it's over Woodruff and Enoree. This one doesn't have a classic structure for a tornado or anything along those lines, but either of these could begin to rotate very, very quickly and with very little warning. So if that were to happen, we'd want you to make sure that you're at least indoors. If you can avoid travel in those areas, I would do so over the next few minutes. If you were going to go run out and grab takeout or something like that, just give it a minute until those storms pass by, because we're in a volatile environment right now. As we've already seen, there's been, tornado warnings popping up just about in many spots, anywhere from Pickens County and Anderson County all the way up here to Rutherford County. So we continue the active tornado warning for Rutherford County. That's the reason we're on the air, but also a tornado watch, which includes all of the Piedmont and extending down into Spartanburg County, does not include Greenville County, mainly because the energy is beginning to shift out to the east. But we've got this area right here. That's where our tornado warning is. And then we've got the two storms, one that's closer to Greenwood and Cokesbury, and then the other that's around Enoree and Woodruff. Those are the other two storms that we have in play that we're watching, or at least that have gotten a little bit strong. And I always watch the one to the south with the most trepidation, because this is the one that has the greatest likelihood of tapping into some good energy. It's warmed up a little bit, better chance to get some good moist inflow into this storm. So we'll be watching that one. But we also, again, have the one that's moving through Woodruff and Enoree, probably at least producing some gusty wind for you. But hail threat is very low with the storm, luckily. But again, there's the one in Enoree. And then we've got the tornado warning up in Rutherford County, which now looks to be just about out of Rutherford County. And in another couple scans, we'll likely be able to give you the all clear in Rutherford County once it is, and it looks like, Bob, I believe it has been removed. Rutherford, from what I can tell on our.
Actually, it does. Yeah, it does look like it has been. No,
maybe not.
It might be still hanging on. But we are seeing reports now coming out of Spartanburg County, around the Mayo area, of trees on power lines. And,
okay.
And of course, that might be a recurring theme over there with what we saw on the correlation coefficient. That's a fancy way of saying that we can see debris on the radar that is not rain or weather associated with that. It's wood, it's fiberglass, it's other objects that are being flung into the air. So that's why we use that debris detection, and that's what we saw earlier.
Well, it's an amazing technological advance in radar that has been able, where we don't have to see a tornado on the ground to know that there is one. And it may not be a long-lasting one. It doesn't tell us a lot about that particular tornado, but it shows us that debris has been lofted into the air, and it shows us essentially that we're looking at a storm with rotation that is causing some kind of damage. And that is an important step in being able to bring you, the most accurate and important information that we can. But again, around Chesnee, we continue to have reports of power lines, Mayo, power lines down, trees down, and the fact that we had that debris signature, and actually Bob just backing it up, okay, there it is. This is what we were seeing that was the most concerning. And actually, if you back it up a little bit, Mayo's just about right here. So we were seeing all of this really right between Chesnee and Mayo. So this is likely where we have a lot of that damage. So again, we'll be sending crews out to investigate that once it is safe to do so. And then when we, again, we'll be bringing you all of that coverage coming up on the 10 o'clock news tonight. But I'm happy to see that that debris signature has gotten much weaker as it has moved off. And I'm not seeing anything, see the difference here. We're seeing a lot of crazy colors and such, but we saw a real focused, this is what we look for with debris, something along that lines up with rotation. That is what told us that a tornado was on the ground with this storm. So it is just a part of radar technology now that can help us bring you the best coverage that we can. And when we really know it's a serious situation, we can pass that along to you. And if you want to, why don't we just hop down? We can keep the debris on.
Okay.
Either we don't have to. I just wanted to go look at those other two storms, but we're assuming at this point there's probably no debris with those. There really hasn't been much rotation with them, but you can see there's really no defined debris signatures or anything along those lines with the storms that are moving through Greenwood, as well as here's Emery. We're not seeing anything that would indicate, and I know it's hard to read this, but just trust me, we're not seeing anything along the lines of what we saw in Chesney and Mayo with those storms. So again, isolated storms continue in the upstate. We're going to stay with this until the storm's completely cleared Rutherford County, but it looks like we may be getting you back to programming here close to the 8 o'clock hour. But as we go back to regular radar, we are going to keep an eye on these particular storms. So we've got the one here that's moving out of Rutherford County. See, I can still see that warning is just peeking out there, but it's basically right on the line. And the worst of it has gotten into Cleveland County at this point. And then you've got some scattered storms to the south, but the two that have really been, we've been watching with the most caution, if you will, is the one that's just north of Greenwood. And then the Emery and Woodruff storm moving over 221. 221's been an active road there for those storms. So now we no longer have the warning for Rutherford County. I can assure you we will be watching these other storms, and if there is a tornado warning, we will get on the air as quickly as possible. But right now that the warnings have all, in our particular area, have all gone away, we'll go back to regular programming. But be sure to tune in tonight on the 10 o'clock news and download our Fox Carolina First Alert weather app. You can stream our coverage straight to your phone. It's absolutely free. Scan the QR code. Not only can you get our streaming coverage, but you can also get video updates on things like when the tornado watch is issued, and when you're out and about, you'll know what's going on. So be sure to download this app so we can stick with you as severe weather season continues.